I know this video today is going to be about sitcoms, but I have to let you know really quickly about one of my favorite shows. It's In Living Color. I know it's not a sitcom, it's a sketch show. It is one of the best sketch shows in the world. I mean, come on, the Wayans, they're geniuses. Come on, Keenan Ivory Wayans, he brought his whole family on, and because of him we have Jim Carrey, we have Jamie Foxx, we have David Allen Greer, we have other people. And I just had to talk about it because if they were still alive today, I would love to be on that show, because even though I'm not a good improv person, you got to give me the lines and I'll do the lines. But it was just such a narcotic show. Better than any sketch show ever in life. At me. What up, what up, what up? I am continuing my list today. If you have not seen my first video, I am judging you. Click the video at the top. I don't know which side it's gonna be on, but click that little tab, white thingy at the top, and it's gonna take you to my original video on the top 5 best black sitcoms, all right? But today I'm gonna be continuing my list, telling you my next top 5 black sitcoms. Now this list was harder to create than the last one, because I was just like, but what about this show? But what about this show? But what about this show? I just had to just do it. I just had to just do whatever. Like, I just had to just go with my gut. I had to pray, and I had to say, Lord, lead me right now, Lord. So he led me, and he gave me the 5. And let's remember, like I said last week, like I said in my last video, this is my list.
Let's go. You could gaze into the future.
I was a Disney Channel kid growing up. Nickelodeon, I more so came upon that later on in life. The Disney Channel was where I grew up. And I struggled, y'all. I wasn't gonna put this on my list at first because I don't know if it's just me, but I don't consider this a black show. I didn't do no T-check or nothing over before this. Hey, when I think of black sitcoms, That's So Raven doesn't really pop into my mind. Like, I know it's a majority black cast, but when I think of black sitcoms, I think of the plot being driven by not stereotypical black stuff, but just black situations. And this show, it touched on some topics that lend itself to the black community, but I mean, I just don't see it as a black show, but it was one of my favorite shows growing up. I mean, somebody said it, and I'm gonna repeat it here. Raven was the Beyonce of Disney.
Yeah! Yep, that's me.
Iconic show. It gave Fresh Prince his start. He wasn't even an actor before this show came along, and now look at him. Just look at him. A-list actor. I don't even think he's got an Oscar yet, but one of the best actors out. And before his first season, he would say how that season was trash for him as far as his acting chops. But for this show, like, I think this is a good show. I think it's a great show. I think it gets more credit because, let me just say it. Because it was a crossover show. What I mean by that is that it was able to be received by black households as well as white households. And I mean, he used to get a lot of flack for that. I did like a whole paper on this when I was in high school, so that's why I know a little bit about this. But I mean, it was like it was a good show. It was a good show, but the reason why it's not higher on my list is because personally, I mean, Hearts Can't Unveil. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Hey,
Everybody hates Chris. I love this show. I remember when it first came out, I felt like as a kid I was a little skeptical. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, because I didn't know much about Chris Rock growing up. But when he was like narrating the show and it was gonna be on his life, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get down this. But I was glued to the TV every week for a new episode. It was just good storylines, the good plot, you know, all that good stuff. But there's one person who held this show on their back and carried that bad boy. Y'all, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
I'ma kick her ass. On my way.
Miss Tashina Arnold, she carried this show. And for me personally, when I looked at her, I thought she made me think of my mom and my aunt. Like, my aunt was like my second mom. So she, to me, I mean, of course, they weren't always as dramatic as Rochelle was, but she made me think of that. So for me, it felt familiar. Like, her character felt familiar, but she just played this character so well. Like, her physical comedy as well as just her comedic chops that she grew from Martin was just so prevalent in this show, and she just did such a great job. And I just felt like I could relate to Chris. Like, I felt like Chris was an underdog and not many people expected much from him. He went to a predominantly white school, which I did growing up, more so when I was in elementary school, but I just could relate to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, how nobody really understood him in that white school. Like, I related to him a whole lot. So I think that's why I really like the show. Just dope show.
My girlfriend.
I just love this show. Like, I mean, okay, I say that about every show, but I really did like this show. I know, like, I probably shouldn't be able to identify with this show because it's girlfriends, but I mean, it was cool. Like, you had Joan, who was a lawyer. You had Maya, who started off as a secretary, assistant, whatever, but she ended up going back to school. She wrote a book. You know, she was getting her life together in a way. She did some questionable stuff, but it's okay. It's all right. You had what's that girl name? You had Tony. Tony was doing her thing as a realtor. She was bougie, and she did want a rich man, but and she was toxic, and I think that's why I like the show. It was toxic. Her and Joan's friendship.
You don't have this kind of money, sweetie. This is not just about you. This is about saving your marriage. My marriage isn't worth squat without that Kelly bag. We're doing this for your own good, Tony, and one day when you have
Toxic, but that's a whole different video. But I think that's what captivated me to it, like what drew me into the show, because you want to know what that Tony was gonna do now. She was doing something. But and then Joan she was a mess, you know what I'm saying? Somebody who was so successful, beautiful, fine. But you know, she was a mess. Like, just a mess. From jumping from man to man, you couldn't keep one, you know what I'm saying? It was captivating. It was a captivating show. I like it. Now, just like the last video, I have to make sure that I put out some honorable mentions. There's gonna be a few more honorable mentions this time, because this will probably be the last list that I do of sitcoms. So I wanna make sure that I really get those shows that, you know, that I know I'm not gonna get to. The Bernie Mac show was a solid show. It was innovative because it did this. Like, he would vlog, like do like confessionals in the middle of the show. maybe will bring like different guests on, but I mean, he could have just did it by himself and it was still like very entertaining. Like,
I'm gonna kill one of them kids. Oh, don't get me wrong. I love them. They my blood. I give them the shirt off my back. You ever see a chicken with his neck wrung, laying to the side all lazy and weak? That's what I'm gonna do to them kids.
America. I would just love when he just get in front of the camera and just talk some crap. And it was like the clean version of who Bernie Mac was, and it was just good. Like, I mean, he talked to kids the way you probably want to talk to kids, but yet he was still loving, and he was still there for the kids. But it was just like, it was just good, like just a good, solid, sturdy, you could build a house on it type show. You know what I'm saying? Dang, where are all the black sitcoms nowadays? I mean, I don't understand. You got shows today like Insecure, who it's in its own lane in a sense, because it is comedic. However, it has some serious, seriousness to it. But where the black sitcoms at? The Bernie Mac show was also special because it didn't have a laugh track. And I mean, so for me personally, I don't really want to hear no more shows, no more sitcoms with a laugh track. I feel like we are, we're in a space, especially today, every time I turn on my phone, every time I get on social media, it is always just filled with tragedy. And I understand why people are posting it and posting these things, but for me, I need a break. Woo! I need a break, and nobody can really make me laugh the way my people can. I mean, granted, there are some great, sitcoms out there that are of non-black people that are good too, but it's nothing like a good black show, black comedy show. And it seems like when a new one comes out, they just go away. This is making me sad a little bit. If you are interested in me listing non-black sitcoms, my top non-black sitcoms, I would be interested in doing that as well, because I do watch a lot of non-blacks on TV, because they're funny too. They are. Everybody's funny. Everybody's funny. All comedians. I have really appreciated doing this list and just bringing awareness to some of those dope shows, mainly shows that most of the shows are from the 90s and 2000s. And I mean, I'm a millennial, so that was bound to happen. But I mean, just sitcoms. I'm not gonna sit here and write another love letter to sitcoms. I'm not to black sitcoms. I'm not. But I hope you enjoyed this video as well as my last video. Again, if you haven't seen the first video, go back, look at it, take a look at it. So, because I don't want you to be yelling at me, cussing me out, saying, well, what about this show? What about this show? It's probably on the other list. So go back and look on the other list. Dang. But remember, tomorrow is not promised. Yesterday, it already happened. So please enjoy this moment and make your next breath one of your very best. I love you.